Although we started out with a little levity, with a smile, and some laughter, why we're here is all very serious. And I really don't need to go into much about what brought us here, because I know that I'm singing to the choir here. You have all been such a tremendous support in our passionate fight to preserve and protect our community mental health system. We can go on and on all night about the value that it plays in our community and the important role it has. Freeholder Di Nicola and Freeholder Sullivan were here last night, where we heard passionate stories about individuals who lost their lives to addiction. And they shared with us that it was much easier to turn to drugs and substances than to go to see a therapist or a psychiatrist to get assistance for depression or mental illness. It was really profound with the number of people who stood up to say the names of loved ones who were lost as a result of this. So Dr. Voss, thank you so much for Resolution 1174. As you know, this is just one tiny step of the many steps that we're going to have to forge together to protect and preserve our community mental health system, because it is under tremendous strain with the changes in the Medicaid fee-for-service system, and I'm not so confident that it can survive the strain that it's placed under. So we're going to have to work together to tie it, put Band-Aids on it, sew it, crochet it, whatever we need to do. But we all know that this is a valuable system, essential system to Bergen County, and we won't let our residents suffer if it breaks. So thank you very much. My people all thank you. And please, each time you see a lanyard, we gave you a little token of our Bergen County stigma-free lanyard. We're at 44 towns. And amazing things are happening across the county. Yesterday I got the commitment from Nora Peck, our superintendent of schools, that she's going to be meeting in a roundtable with some of the students who want to come forward with and add their voice to it to explain why we need to do this as adults, to change the way that we are doing things in this society, to be emotionally well. So that's just one little thing. We'll talk more. Thank you so much.
Carmen H.
Oh.
You don't want to talk? We enjoy it.
Thank you.
Bill Brennan.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman. My name is Bill Brennan. I live at 14 Iowa Road in Wayne, New Jersey. And I'm here about this document, which was served upon you today or yesterday. And it's a lawsuit detailing the violation of my civil rights. And it was a completely avoidable lawsuit. And some of you are looking like you haven't heard about it yet, which is, troubling, because it's 2 years ago. I attempted to enter this building wearing a shirt that said Tedesco. And I was confronted at the door by armed agents of the county who told me that because of the content of the speech on my shirt, I was not permitted to enter this building. And I was then detained, and then I was harassed. And at the end of that, I was allowed to come in as the superintendent of elections. And once I entered the building, I was able to ascertain that the superintendent of elections had never said that this building is a polling place. Now, I want you to think about what happened there. And think about it in the context of the George Washington Bridge case that's going on. Now, David Wildstein decided he was going to close off access to the George Washington Bridge. Kathy Donovan decided she was going to close off access to One Bergen County Plaza. David Wildstein used the Port Authority police to enforce his edict. Kathy Donovan used the Bergen County police to enforce her edict. David Wildstein said that it was a legitimate traffic study that was the basis for his intentional, ill-motivated act. Kathy Donovan said this was a legitimate polling place when it was not election day. Patrick Foy, the executive director of the Port Authority of New York and New Jersey, had to oversee what was going on, step in and order that those lanes be reopened. United States District Court Judge Esther Salas had to step in and order that this building be reopened. Excuse me. Now, I came here to make a point that day, and I thought my point was made when a temporary restraining order was entered and an injunction, temporary injunction was entered. And the gentlemen who had preceded me and were turned away, who happened to be members of the Sheriff's Department supporting Tedesco, they were turned away in violation of their rights, and their rights were completely abrogated. Mr. Tedesco won. A federal judge ruled. 2 years later, you're up to $200,000 of taxpayer money, still fighting this. One of the demands that they're asking is that you give up the right to declare this building a polling place and restrict political activity. It's a very reasonable request. I've got a document that says you refuse to do that. Now, I don't know if you guys actually refuse to do that, but the lawyers who are churning this file, 200,000 tax dollars on nonsense, could have been settled rather simply, rather easily. Yes, that was a mistake. We'll never do it again. How can we compensate you? The damages were very small then. But now you're going to have to pay these guys damages. You're going to have to pay their attorney's fees, the costs, the depositions. This is not good government. I don't know what's going on in this county that you've got so much money that you give money to Skorinsky and Hollenbach and Pack and Hanrahan and who knows who else is involved in this case.
Time has expired.
Do I have another minute?
Please wrap it up if you don't mind.
All I'm telling you is that Bergen County pulled its own wild steam. And there's a federal criminal trial going on over the exact same scenario. There are parallels that are uncanny to what went on. The only difference is this affected 5 people and that affected 50,000 people. But you've got to do something about this because now that I have filed a lawsuit, this is not going to be forgotten. You're going to be seeing a lot of me and hearing a lot from me unless and until you agree that the temporary restraining order that a federal judge issued is now permanent and you'll never try it again. Because nobody's looking out for the First Amendment rights of the people of this county and this state, and I intend to do it if nobody else is going to do it. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Nichols.
Good evening, Paul Nichols. Thank you again, Freeholder Ross, and all the freeholders. I'm glad that you guys are keeping this in the forefront, because we can't let this go to the back burners, we just can't. But what I wanted to bring up tonight, there's a problem with the rooming houses, which we all, I know Freeholders is very into the housing and helping homeless, but we need to, and I brought this to Alex's attention, there's a company called Just Rooms LLC. He has the majority of the rooming houses in Hackensack, and when I was operating today at one of the towns, all his violations, health violations, other violations, I decided to stop in the court just to see what the judge was doing, what's going on in court today, and the judge called Wayne Ruddick, the owner, or one of the owners, and I was like, the thing that bothers me is, I'll walk down the street and I'll see someone, and like I'll call Michelle, and sometimes, but there's, what I'm trying to say is, I'll say, are you homeless? Like I'll think the person's homeless, and they'll say no, but I'm scared to go home. So why are we housing people in places that aren't fit? And I mean, there's some really serious stuff, but people are scared to come forward because there's this one company takes advantage of mentally ill people and will kick you out if you complain. And I'm going to get the actual violations and show you guys, because I hear this throughout the year, it's terrible. Why, I mean, oh, but it's better than being on the street. Well, you know what, I don't know about that. For a female to worry about where she's sleeping, that someone's gonna come in the room and take the sheets off her, that's kind of scary. So I just, I spoke to the DCA, and I'm just hoping that we can look into this. I don't know how you guys can help, but I mean, I spoke to the towns, but I mean, that's just the main thing that I wanted to bring up. But also I'll end on a good note. My little eviction prevention campaign that I've been working on. I went to the court and figured out what the court system is, and also the housing authority, their legal representation told me how they do the evictions, and I think we're gonna come up to a good conclusion where we can make it easy. So, like, I want to thank Lynn Bartlett. They're gonna make it easier for people to find out, because the courts are not giving the resources out for preventing homelessness, preventing eviction, if they don't know about it. If you don't know there are resources out there, how are you gonna know to ask? So that's something that they are working on. Okay, thank you. And so let's hope that we can get the county to do it, and wherever it need be, you know? But thank you for keeping mental health in the forefront. Thank you very much.
Thank you all. Mr. Powers. You can hand that right there. Thank you.
Chuck Powers, Bergen Grassroots. I want to echo actually what Mr. Nichols just said. I just came from a meeting in TDEC where the fact that the town has now joined the stigma-free initiative is being talked about at a community meeting. It's spreading in this town, and I think the role of this freeholder board in keeping community mental health and its relationship to how to treat both addiction and long-term mental health questions is one of the exciting things that is going on in government, and thank you very much for that. Those of you who are aware of the effort we made last week to draw together 13 of the 14 candidates who are running for county office know that there is, in fact, on the website, Bergen Grassroots, the complete video of both of those sessions in segmented forms, so I think that you can actually figure out, if you don't want to watch the whole thing, which of course most of you want to do, you can actually figure out which pieces of it you want to do. In addition, you can also see the panel that Bergen Grassroots led on the issues associated with Bergen Regional. I hear that you, in fact, are going to be able to maintain your same schedule for handling that ordinance. I understood that from this afternoon's meeting, which is good news, and I think it's an exciting effort that you folks are making. But you can actually hear the author of that bill talk about how she thinks that works, and by watching the video of that meeting. One other thing, I'm sorry in talking about this tonight, because I would like for all of Bergen residents and voters to know about the fact that they can get really good information, not only about our videos, but also about what the League of Women Voters have on YouTube, and the excellent information they have up on their website. There is good information for the voter out there, and it's only too bad that the commitment you folks made the other day to simultaneous broadcast, not only of these meetings, but also of the afternoon meetings, it's not going to begin until after that election. But we're looking forward to having you do that. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Barbara Cho.
State and spell your name for me, please.
Yes, Barbara, B-A-R-B-A-R-A, Cho, C-H-O.
Thank you.
Thank you for allowing me to speak. I'm a resident of Norwood, and I'm a U.S. Air Force Cold War veteran. I'm a member of the Fort Lee VFW, and I'm also a member of the Bergen County Veterans Advisory Board. So I want to thank you for your appointments, and I hope you continue to appoint me. It's very fulfilling, a very wonderful position that I have. And people probably come here before you for two things, and that's one, to complain, and two, to ask for money. So I'm here to say something and then to ask for a favor. So the first thing I want to say is I want to tell you, Ted, thank you very much for the Vietnam Veterans Moving Memorial Wall, and how touching that was. It was a beautiful ceremony. We couldn't have had a better afternoon, could we have? And we had the honor guard, we had the 21-gun salute. It was just reflective and solemn. But then what happened, everybody went home, all the dignitaries, all the county dignitaries certainly were there, and then everybody went home. But the wall continued and people came and continued to view the wall. And I had always thought of a wall as a place that humanizes those people who sacrificed their lives for us. But what it really was, is it was a place where you brought those soldiers home. So it's very touching. And I witnessed a friend of mine, her family was the uncle, brother, grand nephew and nieces. He was the uncle, the brother, the grand uncle, and they brought their trophies, they brought their photographs. When they heard his name called, then we all cried. And so it was where they touched with him, and it was their way of saying, this is how we're doing, this is what we're doing, we're going on with life. And I also happen to know the family is very active in the community. I mean, his spirit has carried on. He was one of 2 Bergen County Medal of Honor recipients. He threw his body on a grenade and saved the other soldiers around him, and that's how he met his demise. So if I can stop crying, I mean, he was a good but thank you very much. Now, the favor I have to ask is that I have a son, some of you have met him, and he has a birthday on Saturday. He's in his early 20s, and he's a very special young man. He doesn't smoke, drink, carry on, or take drugs or anything. So some of his friends, a few friends he has, are kind of going on the horizon, and he's a little concerned that nobody might celebrate his birthday with him. And he's a little blue about that. So what I've done, this is what mothers do, birthday cards. And everywhere I go, then I pull out a birthday card and I ask, would you please sign a birthday card for my son? Some people know him, and some people don't. I've asked strangers too, and a little note of encouragement. If he could have a birthday card, and by the way, it's a surprise, so if you know him, please don't say it. I hope he doesn't. Then this would be really awesome to have one from the Bergen County Freeholders. Is that possible? Can I pass out? And anyone else who wants to sign it. And his name is John J-O-N. If you met him, he would say J-O-N, not J-O-H-N. So thank you very much. Do you have a housing for the people? Do you have a housing advisory board, just like the Veterans Advisory Board? I'm wondering if that might solve this gentleman's situation. That he,
Oh, he's very involved in everything.
if you don't have such, oh, okay.
Oh, we do, and he does.
And also, a couple of people and I have discussed stigma-free Norwood, as a matter of fact, and we've had the conversation with, actually, that gentleman and somebody else who goes to church. I can't even remember.
Time is expired.
What were you? Okay.
Yes.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. So we can sign this as we continue the meeting. If no one else wishing to speak, may I have a motion to close the meeting?
So moved.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. We're now closed to the public. Will the clerk please read the resolutions on the consent agenda?
Resolutions on consent are numbers 1067-16 through 1091-16, 1144-16 through 1177-16.
May I have a motion?
Second.
Thank you. Please call the roll. David and then Maura.
Freeholder Di Nicola.
Yes.
Freeholder Felice.
Yes.
Freeholder Gantz.
Aye.
Freeholder Sullivan.
Yes.
Freeholder Voss.
Yes.
Freeholder Zor.
Yes.
Chairman Tinelli.
Yes. Are there any resolutions of non-consent pulled or tabled? If so, will the clerk please read?
There are none.
Thank you. We now go on to 2 ordinances for second reading and adoption. Second reading and adoption of ordinance 16-26. Will the clerk please read ordinance 16-26 by title only?
The proof of publication of ordinance notice of public hearing was published in the Record and the Herald News on Sunday, October 23rd, 2016. It is on file in my office. A copy of the notice of the hearing and ordinance number 16-26 was duly posted pursuant to NJSA 48:2-17 on Friday, October 21st, 2016. The title is read as follows. Bond ordinance providing for various capital improvements by the County of Bergen, appropriating the aggregate amount of $4,700,000 $4,725,000, therefore and authorizing the issuance of $4,499,000 bonds or notes of the county to finance part of the cost thereof.
I have a motion to open the hearing to ordinance 16-26 to the public.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. We'll now have a public hearing. 5-minute time limit to speak about ordinance 16-26 only at this time. The board attorney will keep the time. When the time of the speaker expired, the timekeeper will announce the time has expired.
Good evening.
Please identify yourself again, please.
William Brennan, 14 Iowa Road, Wayne, New Jersey. You notice that this is a bond ordinance. You spend a substantial amount of taxpayers' money, you're going to get something for it. And I want to contrast that to what you've done for the past 2 years with money that could have been spent on things for the taxpayers. Now, how much is this bond ordinance for?
$4,725,000.
So the interest that you're going to spend on that is roughly what you've spent so far in the past 2 years litigating somebody's First Amendment rights.
So,
Now, if you're
Mr.
gonna-
Brennan, hold on 1 second, please. We open the public to hear specifics about this ordinance, not for you to go backtracking on your issue,
I'm
with your
talking
issue
about
with
the
the
money.
lawsuit. We understand your
You
lawsuit.
haven't addressed my issue whatsoever. You haven't said a word about it. You just sat there and looked at me. You haven't addressed it. You haven't even acknowledged that you received the suit. You haven't even said anything about it.
We have not, I'm going to acknowledge, I have not received a copy of your suit. We are well aware of the other one.
Chairman, with due respect, you shouldn't be saying anything right now, and only speak to the council on this.
Okay, thank you, Chairman. Thank you, David. We're going to ask you to keep your comments to this ordinance. Otherwise, we're going to ask you to please have a seat. You're out of order.
So in this ordinance, you're spending over $4 million and you're going to get something. And in other cases, you spend money and you get nothing. Maybe campaign contributions. And I don't know if bond counsel in this particular ordinance is going to give you any money. I don't know if they're going to give you campaign contributions. I don't know what their relationship is. But my understanding is that whenever you issue a bond, you need to hire bond counsel. And when you hire bond counsel, you throw money at the lawyers, and you throw money at the banks, and you throw money all around. And I'm just wondering if there's a better way to run the government of Bergen County than throwing money at lawyers for every single thing you do. You let the lawyers tell you what to talk about, let the lawyers tell you what not to talk about. You let the lawyers tell you what to settle, you let the lawyers tell you not what to settle. Now, I'm telling you that you're doing something wrong running the county. The taxes in this county are excessive, and they're unrealistic, and the people are not getting their money's worth. And the reason they're not getting their money's worth is because you're throwing money at lawyers that should be thrown at real problems in the community. You have homeless people in the community that need housing, you have roads that need to be repaired, you have bridges that are crumbling, you have schools that are understaffed, but you never have money for that. You always have money for lawyers, for bonds, for all these different issues. And it's time that you focus on the people and not the people that are giving you campaign contributions. And that's all I have to say about that bond.
Thank you. Anyone else? There being no more discussion, may I have a motion to close the public hearing? Do I have a second? Second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it. Hearing is closed to the public. Is there any board discussion or comment on ordinance 16-26? Seeing none, may I have a motion to adopt ordinance 16-26 as read by the clerk? Second. Please call the roll.
Freeholder Dean-Colin.
No?
20.
Freeholder Fleece.
Yes.
Freeholder Gantz.
Aye.
Freeholder Sullivan.
Yes.
Freeholder Boss.
Yes.
Freeholder Zuer.
Yes.
Chairman Tinelli.
Yes.
Ordinance 1626 is adopted on second reading.
Will the clerk please read ordinance 16-27 by title only?
The proof of publication of the ordinance notice of the public hearing was published in the Record and the Herald News on Sunday, October 23rd, 2016, and is on file in my office. A copy of the notice of the hearing and ordinance number 16-27 was duly posted pursuant to NJSA 40A:2-17 on Friday, October 21st, 2016. The title is read as follows: An ordinance establishing weight limits on certain Bergen County bridges.
I have a motion to open the hearing on ordinance 16-27 to the public.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Public hearing is now open with a 5-minute time limit to speak about ordinance 16-27 only. At this time, the board attorney will keep the time. When the time of the speaker expires, the timekeeper will announce when the time has expired. May I have a motion to close? Oh, I'm sorry.
My name is William Brennan, I still live at 14 Iowa Road in Wayne, New Jersey. And I'm going to assume that some of these weight limits are as a result of the crumbling infrastructure of this county. In other words, preventive maintenance and routine maintenance and improvements in the infrastructure apparently weren't made. So therefore, the bridge that at one time could accommodate a larger vehicle has now been deemed unfit and unsafe for such a heavy vehicle. And I don't know that that's true or not. I'm just assuming that that's the way things go when a community spends all of its resources litigating with people and posturing and moving forward in their own self-aggrandizing manner. So I'm going to suggest...
If you don't know what's true, why would you make the statement?
Well, because you haven't corrected me on anything I said, so if I'm wrong, please tell me. Are you saying that an existing bridge is having its weight limit restricted because initially when it was opened, it had greater capability, and now it doesn't?
I'm saying that the trucks get bigger and bigger every day, don't they?
No, they don't.
Yeah,
The
they
trucks
do.
don't get bigger and bigger every
They do.
day. So then the weight limit that you had is now has to be reduced because the trucks got bigger. See, if the truck gets bigger, sir, if the truck gets bigger and the weight
It
limit
says to
gets...
establish weight limits. It doesn't say to reduce, it says to establish.
So there were no weight limits on any of
So-
these bridges.
So you need to, when we have new bridges, you establish weight limits.
So this is only on new bridges?
I didn't say that.
So what are you saying?
I don't know what you're saying.
I don't, well, you're in charge here and you don't even know what you're saying. You're just telling me you don't know what I'm saying and you're making hypotheticals out of it.
You came up here and you made a statement.
I made a
You don't know
statement.
if it's true.
I don't
And
know.
you continue to espouse these.
I know one thing that's true. This community is being run by people who would rather spend money on bonds than fixing bridges.
Okay.
This community is being run by people who would rather spend money on attorneys
I disagree.
okay, you disagree.
I do.
Well, I'm glad that you disagree, and we have a right to disagree.
That's right.
And I'm going to go back to what I'm saying. Because if you're saying that the reason you have to set these weight limits is because trucks get heavier,
I said that's a possibility.
oh, so you don't know what you're talking about, and you're sitting here to get paid. No, I actually do know what I'm talking about. I just outed you as somebody who picked a fight with me over nothing. You just picked a hypothetical fight with me over trucks getting heavier, and it has nothing to do with trucks getting heavier. You just made that up. And I am the public, and this is the public portion of the meeting, and you chose to interrupt me, so you're out of order, sir. You're out of order, sir. This is my portion of the meeting to speak. I didn't ask you for an argument.
I asked you to conduct yourself.
If this gentleman is going to interrupt me
I'm
and
sorry,
pepper
I
me,
can't take
I
it when
asked you
you're
a question.
speaking
I
to
didn't
us.
interrupt you. I'm sorry.
you continue to interrupt me, and you're interrupting me now. Well, the record speaks for itself.
Mr. Chairman, I can transcribe
Yelling.
with...
Sorry, Ken.
So now, Freeholder Sullivan opined that the reason you're establishing weight limits is because trucks get heavier.
No, I didn't say that. I said that could be one of the reasons for doing things.
Shouldn't you know the reason you're about to vote on something before you vote on it? So why don't you, instead of opining what could be a reason and interrupting me when I'm speaking,
I
instead
apologize
of,
if you feel I interrupted you, sir.
and you're going to continue to interrupt me, aren't you?
I apologize.
So I'm going to continue saying what I said, because you did say that one of the reasons this is because the trucks get heavier and heavier. And I'm saying that in my view, the reason that you're needing to establish weight limits or lower weight limits is because the infrastructure is crumbling. And I'm saying that you're not doing a good job maintaining the bridges and the roads and the schools and all of the infrastructure of this community because you're wasting resources on litigation, on the Skerinsky and Hollenbachs of the world. And that's why I'm up here. And what that man just did was indicative of the problem. He doesn't want to hear what I'm saying, so he makes something up. And he just came up with a possible reason why you're changing weight limits on county roads and county bridges. He should be able to say the reason is X or the reason is Y, but he didn't do that. So that's all I have to say about that.
Anyone else? May I have a motion to close the hearing? Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? We're establishing weight limits on bridges. Every bridge in the state of New Jersey, I'm sure, has weight limits established. I'm sure there were a few county bridges that needed to be addressed. We're establishing weight limits on bridges. hopefully that clarified your question. Please call the roll. Oh, may I have a motion to adopt ordinance 16-27 as read by the clerk? Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Please call the roll.
Freeholder Dina Cola.
Yes.
Freeholder Felice.
Absolutely.
Freeholder Gans.
Aye.
Freeholder Sullivan.
Definitely.
Freeholder Boss.
Yes.
Freeholder Zor.
Yes.
Chairman Tinelli.
Yes.
Ordinance 1627 is adopted at second reading.
Chairman? I may,
Sure.
you might want to explain to members of the public who wish to speak. The recorder is trying to take down the stenograph, and she can't tell when people are talking over each other who is speaking or what they're saying, and it makes for a very messy record.
So, Freeholder Gans just wanted me to point out, I'll take the responsibility tonight. When multiple people speak, the court stenographer has a very difficult time to disseminate what's being said by whom, and we need to have accurate records so that people know what we're doing here when they want to see what goes on in our meetings, what's been passed. So it's very important that we try and keep some order. So I apologize, Kim, for people talking over. Hopefully you'll be able to catch up.
Mr. Chairman, if I can also clarify for the record, for the benefit of the public, the purpose of going forward and investing in bonding is just precisely so that we can make infrastructure improvements. And this bonding that we voted on this evening improves our parks and our golf courses, but very often when we bond, it improves our buildings and our schools and our roadways, and it's exactly why we make these long-term investments. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Freeholder. What are you going to do? We'll now have Freeholder committee reports. Anyone? Someone make a motion?
I'll make a
I'll make a motion to suspend the committee reports this evening.
I will second that motion.
Thank you. Please call the roll.
Freeholder Dina Cola.
No.
Freeholder Felice.
Yes.
Freeholder Gans.
No.
Freeholder Sullivan.
Yes.
Freeholder Boss.
Yeah.
Freeholder Zor.
Yes.
Chairman Tinelli.
Yes. So, committee reports will be suspended this evening. So, there being nothing further to come before this board, may I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. We will now adjourn at 8:08.